All right, everyone. I am with Ellie, the founder of Anybodies. Extremely excited for this episode. Just first and foremost, how are you doing today?
Dude, I've had the best sleep I've had in months. So actually a great day to be on a podcast with my friend Bart. So yeah, thanks for having me, dude.
Awesome. Yeah. And I guess really the first question, because this is all about just getting to know you as a person, the
Okay.
man behind the project, so to speak.
All right. So we're
What are
going
you
deep.
up to today? Like what's just like your daily life like?
Dude, today, that's a great question. Um, my day started with taking my dogs to school, um, which is a weird thing to do, but if they stay home, they destroy my house. So
Oh
I take
wow.
them to
What kind
school
of
and it's like this
dogs?
French bulldogs. So it's like these two little minions. And bro, it's crazy. So in my place, they've eaten all the skirting of my home. So I have to replace like all the skirting. And the only way to stop them is like send them to daycare. So it's kind of little, it's like, it's practice for when I have real kids, you know what I'm saying? Take them to school in the morning. Wifey brings them back. So that's how my day usually starts. Just dropping the kids off at school. Let's call it that, bro. But yeah, today was an interesting day for me, man. So outside of Web3, I have a couple of Web2 businesses, and one of them is in the energy sector. And we're busy with a really interesting transaction where we pretty much have gas stations. We call them petrol stations, America's gas stations. And like there's like a whole huge change in the energy sector or the fuel space where it's shifting away from like price sensitivity with the actual product and more to convenience offering. So like a lot of people after COVID were doing like their grocery shopping from their gas station, specifically in South Africa. And I don't know if it's a global thing, but like in Africa, that like really became a trend. So there's this like huge shift to like making the gas station an amazing destination where like it's not just where you go fill up with gas. It's like you go there to get your groceries, you go there to grab a coffee, you go there to have a meeting. Like we're doing this concept where there's even a meeting room in a gas station. It's beautiful.
Wow.
But yes, it's like this huge shift in the energy space in South Africa. So yeah, it's just been like, so dropped the dogs, had a bunch of board meetings with a couple retailers. So kind of like I don't know, like Whole Foods, I guess, type thing in South Africa for them to come in. So it's our own brands. And we're looking for these like convenience partners to plug into. So that was my first meeting of the day. And then what else did I do? I had a meeting with the graphic design team. So we're now back in the Web3 space. So kicked it off with our graphic design team. And we're making decks for undisclosed customers, but pretty much like Web3 is tricky, man, because you have to explain to like a bunch of corporate people like why they need to care about what you're doing, you know? And it's pretty hard to articulate that, especially when they have like no context. So we've been like making really interesting graphics to kind of explain how like consumers' expectation has shifted. And if you don't move with that change, you kind of die, but in a pretty way. So like, yeah, man, it's been fun. It's been fun to like take a doomsday situation and make it pretty for corporate. But I think we've kind of crushed it. I'll show you a little sneak peek if you want later on in the
Amazing.
pod. But yeah, and now just hopped off another meeting with our investors for Anybody's, and now I'm here. That's been my day so far, and we're halfway through the day.
Awesome. Yeah. And I have heard that you're on kind of the fundraising trail, so to speak. So how long have you been at that for? Just how long has that been your main focus?
Sure. I would say that it became a main focus, like fully, like almost all my time going to it about 30 days ago. Beforehand was like a lot of prep work, which is like the ugly part of fundraising that no one likes to talk about, which is like revising pitch decks, going through like all the financials and cleaning it up. And if you've never raised money, you have to have like a data room where it's got like everything beautifully filed. And it's like, it's a lot of admin and a lot of prep work that you have to do before you can actually go sit with them. So yeah, we went through the painful process, and now we're kind of at the fun part where we get to start speaking to everyone, which has actually been going very well, man. I think, in the early stages of like NFTs, it was super easy to raise money. It's kind of like where AI is right now. Like if you're in AI, they'll just be like, here's 100K or a million,
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of like, so when NFTs were there, it was like super easy. And it's funny, hindsight's annoying sometimes, man, because it's a pain in the ass when you get it wrong. But pretty much when we raised our first round, people were offering us millions, and we only took 300K because we were like, hey, we don't want to take too much money because that's like another mistake you can make. Like, want to keep it lean, want to stay hungry, want to go at it. But who would have thought that the NFT market shit the bed, and like it was almost at zero. But I guess we're fortunate, right? Because we have a lot of like Web2 traction. So it's not like we're stuck in the Web3 echo chamber, and that's helped us a lot. So yeah, it's been a fun process.
Right. And that whole Web 2 integration of Anybody's is really why I've been so interested in the project from the very beginning. And I think that's just a good transition to really start talking about the project. Like, for people that don't know, what is Anybody's? Why should people actually care about the project?
Good question, man. Yeah. Bart came prepared.
Yes,
So
sir.
anybody's dude, I love these questions. I haven't been on like a pod or spaces in a minute. So I'm excited to do this, especially because we've been pitching so much. So yeah, anybody's is this next generation of loyalty. I think that the current way that loyalty is from a brand point of view, like when you go shopping, is a bit boring. It's like the normal get points. And we're filming an ad which like takes this whole problem into a beautiful way, where it's like, speak to Mary in finance about the loyalty program that we didn't even know we had, right? And it pans to Mary, and it's like, well, if you collect like 5 stars, 5 stickers with every coffee you buy, the sixth one you get free. And like, that's kind of where loyalty is at. It's like as basic, bare bone, boring as that. And really what Anybody's does is, and this is to answer the second part of your question, why people are going to start caring, is it takes loyalty and it completely shifts it into like a co-creation model where it's personalized to each individual, because everyone's different, everyone likes different things. So instead of taking this one size fits all, it's tailored experiences for each individual that shops at that store or online. And I think the coolest part about it is we use the blockchain as the layer to make it interoperable, which is just a fancy way of saying that it's all on one system, so you can do a lot of different things. Like, a great example of this is buy a toy in Toys R Us and play with the digital version in Roblox, as an example, or in some Web3 metaverse. Before, that was never possible. And what you start to see is a huge problem with like Starbucks, what they have, right? And blockchain solves this really simply. Is if I order Starbucks on Uber Eats, right, and I am a part of the Starbucks loyalty program, I don't get any stars or rewards when I order on Uber Eats. They don't communicate because they're siloed ecosystems. And when you bring that on chain, it's now that they're all in this sort of the same, let's just say the same table, right? So it's easy now. Now Uber Eats can increase their sales of coffees, because now it's like, hey, you are still buying a Starbucks coffee and you're getting the rewards, so you don't have to schlep to the store anymore, and you'll get the same benefit. Because that's like the main reason people actually walk to the store, not Uber Eats it to their office, especially like in New York and that. They don't. It's like they'd rather collect it, get the points, and then take like whole thing to the office, because they don't get the points with like any of the other apps. So I think like those sort of problems is where blockchain really shines. It's just that blockchain is very complicated and ugly, and we're making it super easy and useful.
Awesome. And I've heard recently that you guys are really working closely with the Solana Foundation. How are you guys really working to position Anybody's as a project that not only just grows the number of users on Solana within Web3, but also just brings it to the masses, the normies, so to speak?
Yeah. So Solana, as the Solana Foundation, have a ton of companies that reach out to them that are like curious. They just want to dip their toes in and see like, what is this blockchain about, and what can we do with it, and how can we be a trendy company and put ourselves ahead of the competition. And that's sort of the partnership that we've established with Solana, is that all that inbound gets funneled to us because, number one, we speak the corporate jargon and we understand how to communicate the perks of it, of like why you should care about blockchain. Number two is navigating all those regulatory concerns. We've now been through that for 2 years. We have amazing counsel that actually helps do that. And the real partnership is, you don't see any Ethereum or Polygon Foundation doing Ethereum, let's layer ones. You don't see layer ones doing biz dev the same way that Polygon would, right? So they were ultimately looking for like a biz dev partner that can take these brands and amazing companies and help them come into Web3, but in a way that actually makes sense, not just drop a 100,000 collection or a 5,000 collection of random JPEGs. Like, it needs to actually serve a real purpose in their business. And the way that we approach that is we start by looking at, number one, like who are the customers and what's the industry, obviously. And then we really focus in on taking the existing products and rewarding the user or the consumer for the intended purpose. And that's just a complicated way of saying, if you play tennis and you like playing tennis, as an example, or golf, like a great one's golf. We've got a lot of golfers in Web3, right?
Yep.
If you go to the golf course wearing TaylorMade, imagine if you wore their clothes or you have their golf clubs, and they'll give you free balls by just going and representing their merch that you just purchased. Like, that's a great thing, right? That makes way more sense to me as the golfer, because now it's like golf balls are expensive. I lose them a lot because I'm probably a bit shit at golf, right? But I'm playing golf in the tailor-made stuff, which is what the product was made for that, right? And I think that's where the big disconnect is for these brands, is that they're just purely looking at loyalty as this output, right? Where it's like, okay, cool, spend $10, get $1 off, like, and that doesn't do much anymore, right? People want so much more. So we've built this platform where it's really easy for them to build out these experiences. They don't need any devs. They can go click a few buttons and they're off to the races. Fully white label. They can put it on their own website. They can do whatever they want. And our BD team and our onboarding team just sit there to help them think outside of the box. Because what they usually do is they think very like low level shit. They don't get exciting with it. They try and keep it like, they try to play it safe, and we're like,
They don't know what's
no,
possible yet, right?
exactly. They're like so scared of it. And I'm like, dude, like that's like the bore. No point in even doing it. Don't speak to me then. Like, let's do something that will really change the game. And that's when you're going to start seeing in 2024, like the brands that we're fortunate enough to work with are now at a point where we've got enough proof of concepts that we've done successfully that they're like, all right, fuck it. We're ready to do something magical. And what's interesting, bro, that I've actually picked up is that all these brands have a lot of this like heritage collectible stuff that they'll like put like 5 in America, there'll be like 5 of this random collectible thing. And that's like a normal shoe. That's like a 1 of 20 just because it's like their 100th anniversary. I'm like, dude, like that is the perfect product to dip your toes in and watch the success. And that's sort of the low-hanging fruit that we're targeting, and then rolling out into like a stronger use case where, how do we get millions of wallets signing up? If every product comes with an NFT, there you go, right? They're selling millions of products. We're doing this. A great example is Toys R Us. So with Jeffrey the giraffe, you can see him in the background. He's a bit blurred over there. The
Yep.
little Jeffrey the giraffe plushie, right? When you buy this plushie in 2024, it's going to come with an NFT. If you scan the QR code, you can create an account, which is actually normal email, phone number, whatever you want, and it'll actually make a Web3 wallet for you with enough Solana in it, preloaded, that you can do real transactions on chain. And they sell hundreds of thousands of that toy every year. What can you do with NFT? Go play it in Roblox. There's an amazing Roblox experience that's coming out. There's all these metaverse games that absolutely suck. Number one, why? Because no one plays them. They don't have a source. They don't have that top of funnel sucks right now. So they turn to companies like us where it's like, hey, we've got hundreds of thousands of products in millions of consumers' hands that want an experience with these NFTs. They don't even know it's an NFT, right? We just call it a collectible
Right.
in that world. But yeah, and ultimately that's where I see Solana win in the long term and blockchain win, is take out just strip it from all its rubbish, and jargon, and just be like, yeah, you get a cool collectible. Now go play a video game and be happy, and then go play some golf and get some free golf balls and enjoy the process, and love it.
Right. So you're really, I guess to sum it up, Anybody's is targeting people like me who just never sign up for loyalty programs because they're boring and there's no real benefits that grab at least my attention. And you're making this platform that's just going to enable these brands to take their rewards to the next level and really provide novel experiences to people that interact with their brands on a day-to-day basis. And in doing so, you're going to be able to onboard, at least from my perspective, potentially millions of people, not only to the Anybody's platform, but also to Solana, and then really grow that blockchain, which I think is a really vital role to play for the Solana ecosystem. Like I don't know of perhaps an Ethereum project that's really focused on that same mission as far as
So we
bringing
have,
things into the real world.
I wouldn't say it's Ethereum. I would say it's more the L2s, the EVMs, that do have a couple. So there's like a really cool company that I'm a big fan of called Co-Create, which actually started with a whole different vision, trying to solve creator royalties. They raised like a ridiculous number, dude, like $25 million, A16Z back, like they juiced it. Perfect time, perfect place type thing. And they pivoted to loyalty. And I actually think that they've got a very good chance of also succeeding. Outside of them, there's not many. I think the key difference between them and us is that we starting with, so although we have a huge lead on Web 2 businesses, but a big play from our side is we already have hundreds of thousands of Web 3 businesses and brands, projects, right, that are using our software already, that are on the Anybody's platform. So when we're talking to the same brand, let's say Co-Create speaking to, let's say we're speaking to Adidas, right? That would be nice. We're not speaking to Adidas, by the way. But let's say we're both speaking to Adidas, right? We both have the exact same software. The edge that we're bringing is that, it's very cool to build out these amazing experiences and have the brand increase lifetime value of their customers. But also there's the custom acquisition part. Web3 custom acquisition is the most expensive, right? It's a very expensive user to get. So when you join the Anybody's platform, you actually you join this ecosystem. We have hundreds of thousands of users and projects that want to give their users use case of their shitcoins or points or whatever, right? So Adidas are going to come to us. We're going to say, well, on top of us making your existing customers super happy, you also get access to hundreds of thousands of Web3 users and projects that would want to co-create with you. Excuse the joke there, because they are co-create, right? But that users that want to co-create with Adidas, and now they're acquiring hundreds of thousands of new users in a whole new vertical. Who knows what that can unlock? And that is a massive edge that I think will be very, very hard for them to catch up to in today's market, because it's very challenging, right? Especially I don't think Polygon has too much staking and those sort of things going on. It's not really their game.
Right. Yeah, and this whole vision for what Anybody's now actually is. That's not the vision that you started off with. You
No,
guys
not at
pivoted,
all.
and I'm wondering what it was like when the idea was first planted. How did that pivot really happen? And initially, what were the odds of success that
Mm.
you had in your mind, and how has that changed to today?
So Anybody's started in 2021, and which was Pico Bull. Like NFTs was flying.
Right.
That was the new jam, right? And every project would sell out not in a minute, in seconds. In seconds, they would raise tens of millions of dollars. So we decided to join the space as a team and really build something meaningful. So we started out as a digital fashion brand, and the goal was to tokenize or bring physical products and objects into digital spaces in a really functional way that elevated the experience of the product itself. So buy a sneaker and unlock a really cool interactive filter that's monetized, and these sort of ideas. And when we launched, it took us 16 days. So we were like the anomaly in this thing, where everyone's selling out in seconds. People just, for some reason, were not convinced on this very ambitious plan of building the next Balenciaga or Nike of the metaverse. And 16 long days, we trooped through it. We sold out our collection after cutting supply from 10K to 3K. A lot of people don't know this, but it was a 10K collection that actually we cut supply to 3,000, and it was $200. We cut it to like $40 or something ridiculous. Like it was like nothing. And our first drop was actually with Nike South Africa. So it's quite an interesting piece of history. So what happened was Nike at the time was looking to come into the blockchain. Lots of companies were. And they were speaking to teams like Artifact. This is long before they even acquired any sort of artifact, right? And they were interested in blockchains. So I pitched to them, hey, Solana's really fast. We can do some really cool shit. Why not? If not, why not? And we pretty much get this whole thing going. And our first drop, which really was the turning moment for us, from being a very bearish project, people didn't really care about it, take note. We now bring this Nike deal to the table, and the shoes came out incredible. It was 65 limited edition sneakers, and within this packaging, it was beautiful. You get this QR code that unlocks this whole digital filter, and the really cool thing is that that filter is being monetized down the line. So the more content you make on Snapchat with it, the more cents per thousand impressions you would make. So the CPM that you get paid out, it actually is just like a booster to your CPM if you're making content. And it makes sense because now it's not just going to sit in your closet as a collectible item. Because think of how much shit does people own, like amazing watches and the most collectible, desirable things, but they sit in a vault and you can do nothing with them, right? So how else do you help it accrue more value? You can't, right? So the whole idea of this filter was to make a highly collectible, desirable sneaker in very low supply and give them digital means of creating content, getting more people aware of this. Whoa, how do I get it? Price goes up. And we actually gave those 65 sneakers away to the members who minted our collection, right? If you minted 10 Anybodies, you got this free sneaker. And the all-time high sale of the digital sneaker was $3,000 just for the digital filter, the NFT. And the physical, the all-time high was $7,000. So that just proved to us, like off the bat, like, holy shit, this is actually something that people care about. And that's when we went full on into the fashion side of low supply, content focused behind the actual collectible and bringing that into as many digital spaces as possible. So we ended up working with D-Gods. We dropped the 200 collection hoodie with them. That's doing amazing still as well. It's like, I think we sold them at $200. They were selling for a couple $1,000.
It's a great hoodie. It's like the most comfortable hoodie I own.
Yeah, dude. High quality, it was made in Portugal, like really beautiful products that were competing. We wanted it to, number one, feel luxurious. So from the packaging to the unboxing experience to the actual product itself. You get a filter that gives you wings that comes out of your back on Instagram. You've got like a thing that flies out of the box when you open it through your phone. And what was crazy about that, by the way, was I haven't told anyone this stat. This is a very cool stat. So within the filters that we made, we purposefully made them on Instagram so we could track the amount of impressions they generated for both our brand and DGod's brand, right? So we sold the 200 hoodies, and we sold that in, I think it was like 10 minutes, did very well. And the amount of impressions made just on unboxing, because think of all these unboxing videos on YouTube, right? Just
Right.
on the unboxing, right? It was crazy, dude. It was over 100,000 on just 200 units of a bunch of Web3 nobodies. Like, we're not talking about some YouTube famous person or, an influencer. This is just the normal Joe Schmo unboxing, scanning a QR code and playing with a filter and putting it on his story. Like, that was it. And it was incredible to see how that directly impacts price impact. So, and it did, right? The hoodies are still trading above what they were sold for originally. And the digital, I think that just the digital part of it is more expensive than what we sold them at for retail. And then we moved on to one more drop, which was a very special drop. And this was the aha moment. So we're digital fashion, we're crushing it. The NFT project is picking up, Cloud9. We managed to close a deal with Tay Keith, who's one of the top hip hop producers in the world. He's made songs with Drake. If you don't know him, he's an incredible artist.
Mm-hmm.
And what we did there was something special, where we wanted to take the exact same concept, but now just take it to the next level, right? Of like, what more can we pack into these filters that's just going to drive FOMO that ultimately makes these more desirable? So what we did was we made 1,000 hoodie drop this time. So a much bigger collection, because he has a huge audience. He's got millions and millions. And the idea was to now, instead of just having the box and QR codes touch into this digital experience, we wanted it to really like be this world merging experience of digital and physical. So we did our first run of NFC chips into the sleeve of the hoodie. And on the side, depends which version you got. And pretty much what happens is, depending on where you go, if you go to certain concerts, if you go to like Starbucks, if you go to those sort of things where they have brand deals, you'll be able to tap your hoodie at that location and get rewarded with like a free coffee or backstage passes or those sorts of things. And the response was insane. It absolutely blew up. It was our most viral video. Everyone was now paying attention to Anybodies. Like, these dudes, it took 16 days. Now they're front center. Everyone's talking about us. And we sell out in literally 1 minute. All of it's gone. And for the first time, we noticed that people really cared about the secondary. Less than anything else. Sorry, more than anything else, they cared about the secondary. So like, bro, in the first day, it did $150,000 in secondary sales on a hoodie. Like, we're not talking a speculative asset here where it's a Bored Ape or something, right? It's like, it's a hoodie. And it just did $150,000, which is like, that's a crazy number, right? And this was in the day of royalties were still a thing in the Web3 world. So it ended up, you remember this. This is crazy, right?
Oh, yeah.
So now royalties are pumping. We end up doing $400,000 in secondary sales in the first 2 weeks. That yielded for Takey an extra $17 net for each hoodie. Dude, that's like the craziest number ever, right? So you made an extra $17 per hoodie on 1,000 hoodies. That's not like, those are mind-blowing numbers, right? Imagine it at scale now. You sit with the Nike, you say, hey, man, look what this did for this artist. It's like next level, right? Put that at scale, frame it right, pack it right. All of a sudden, you're making, like, you can now start making prices more consumer-friendly, more accessible, and make it up through your digital side and make it even more, No one's making, like, most people don't make $17 net on a hoodie in any case. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's a crazy number. It's a crazy number, Bart.
Yes,
And
it is.
that was the aha moment. Was like, we're trying to understand, like, why do people care so much more about the Takey thing versus anything else. And it was simple. The experience. You are rewarded for taking that product and going to places that are of value, that give value to Take It. Wear it to his concert, you're repping his merch. More people are gonna be like, wow, that hoodie's sick, man. Where'd you get it? And you're sitting with a group of people, you tap, you go, check this backstage. Bro, all of a sudden everyone's gonna want that hoodie, right? All of a sudden. And that was like the aha moment. It was like, holy shit, like digital fashion is cool, but it's too early. It's ahead of its time, like for sure, because there's just not enough. There's not enough digital things to do, right? You need the cooperation of the social medias, which is like in itself is a massive task to do, right? Like sit with Zuck and be like, Zuck, let's token gate some filters, buddy. Like, what's he gonna say? He'll be like, that's a lovely idea, guys. We're building the next VR shit. Like, we'll get to that when we get to that.
We'll talk to you in like 5 years.
5 years, some shit. Like, I won't even lie. We had backers, because remember now the ecosystem wins if one of these big guys support your blockchain, let alone us. We had big money backing us on these things. Like, if I tell you big money, like big budget, bro. We were speaking to the social media. I have a strong background with TikTok, right? And huge budgets, dude, that you can like build a whole blockchain for. With that type of budget, you can build a whole new blockchain. But it's like, okay, it makes sense. Like, and still, it's like still running its course. It's still doing its stuff. Like, when that comes, then I think that the digital fashion brands will absolutely smash it. But until then, it's not going to happen. And people really cared. Like the fact that loyalty, because if you look at it, that hoodie is actually a loyalty program. You've subscribed to the Take It loyalty program. If you go to my concert with my hoodie, right? It's the same as you go and you buy 10 coffees. It's all the same shit. You get backstage. It doesn't cost Take Keith anything. What did it cost him to give you a backstage? It's his concert. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
There's no cost to it. So that was like the aha. We're like, okay, people give a shit. We need to unpack that. We sat for like 3 weeks, like just trying to understand why people cared about it. And like all roads led to loyalty and membership on chain. And like it, when you start to think about it, it's like blatantly obvious why.
It's what makes the blockchain real.
Exactly, dude. And people don't even know it's blockchain. So it makes it even more real.
Perfect. So I want to just take things back to you as a person. You're trying to make Anybody's $1 billion brand in your own words. And you have other companies that you're working on as well. People know that you have an entrepreneurial background, but I don't think people know the full story. So I'm wondering, where did this just inherent nature come from? Was it something about your upbringing, how you grew up, and what has your entrepreneurial path been thus far?
So I would say, like, from as early as I can remember, I've always had like that desire to build and sell shit. Like my earliest memory was of my late grandmother. She was a smoker, chain smoker, and she would like buy these cartons where it comes like in a pack of 10 or 20, and I would steal a box as a kid, and I'd go to school in primary school in I don't know what you guys call it, middle school maybe, and I would go take it, and I had an older brother who was like in high school, and I would take that cigarettes and I'd go to the high school students who were like in their rebellious stages of life. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, who wants to see you? Who wants one of these? I'll take it for like R1, which is like a cent to you guys. and bro, until I got caught, I was the fucking guy at Tuck Shop, man. At lunch, be like, bring my friends, whatever you want, boys. It's on me. I'll be dishing out sandwiches like it was nothing. It was crazy, dude. So like that was like my first memory of like actually making money. I mean, given I was stealing the cigarettes from my grandmother, but it was still like, I don't know, it just happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would say
there's a lot of entrepreneurs that started in the cafeteria.
Really?
I've heard similar stories. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go, man. So yeah, I think like historically, I'm just trying to think back to like my like family, like the history of my family. My family's never been like big entrepreneurs. My grandfather is where it actually started from. Like he started from nothing and built a business. But before him, there was nothing really. And I guess maybe he did have quite an impact, but from such a young age, I can't imagine it. I was like 8, you know what I'm saying? Like stealing ciggies. So, but that's like my earliest memory of entrepreneurship. And my journey actually started in high school with watches. I loved watches. I bought my first watch was a Mondaine, which is this. It's the clock for all the train stations in like Europe and those sort of things. It's a beautiful piece,
Nice.
and I ended up collecting them. And the guy, I went to one of the watch dealers, and I was like, "Dude, like I love watches. Let me help you sell them. I'll make some commission," and kind of build up my little watch collection like that. Guy gave me a shot. I ended up speaking to some pretty rich dudes. That was like my first exposure to like real money.
Yeah.
Guys that had like, yeah, spending crazy numbers of, especially back then, it was like crazy to me that you'd even spend like, even like when they were spending like $10,000, which isn't crazy now, but like, it's like, dude, I was like, holy shit, man, this guy's a baller.
Right.
I'm like 16. I never seen that type of money before, man. So I started in the watch industry, and I made a lot of good friends there. And then after school, I went to study business, and I was there for 1 year, and then I dropped out. My issue with them was pretty simple, man. My mom wasn't happy with me, but pretty much they kept explaining how to do business. So it was like, here are the 4 P's of marketing. It's like price, product, promote. I was like, yeah, that's cool, bro, but like, does it work? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're telling me all these things, but what have you done? Like, you can't tell me that I can take the 4 P's, right, and go build something. Like, there's just no shot. And they were like, of course it'll work. I was like, okay, I will take you up on that. So I registered my first company, and I didn't know what to do, bro. So I was like, well, let me try my hand at construction. It seems like the lower hanging fruit to get started, just like build the wall. How hard could it be? Type shit. You know what I'm saying? So I went to the hardware store, and in South Africa you have, I don't know if you have this in America, but like you have these guys outside there with like a sign that says, "Hey, I'm a painter." You know, like I'm looking for a job. I'm a painter. I'm a plumber, whatever. They just want work. You know. So they were always outside the spot. So I walk up to them and I was like, listen, man, like if I'm building a wall, what do I need? And literally I had my little notebook, and I walked with the guys from outside, took 3 dudes. Those were my first hires on just like contract basis. And they told me everything, dude. They were like, all right, dude, you need some cement, you need some bricks, you need some of this shit. And it was me learning how to build some walls, Bart. You know what I'm saying? And I went back and I didn't get any customers. And I was like, dude, I'm trying these damn P's and they're not working. What am I doing wrong? And he couldn't answer it. So I go to my mom and I'm like, I'm not going back there. It's a waste of my time. Like, dude, what they're teaching me has no value to me right now. Like, I'm going to learn
Yeah.
more from the guys that are showing me how to build the wall than the guy reading a textbook to me, you know?
Right.
And so I drop out, and my mom was like livid, man, because firstly, it was an expensive school. It wasn't like a normal university. It was like a private one, so it's a bit more expensive. She just paid a bunch of money. So she's like, if you leave this shit, you're on your own. You figure it out, because now I've spent a bunch of money on your education.
That's what my mom would have done.
Yeah. And it's understandable, right? I mean, I would
Oh,
probably
yeah.
do the same to my child. I'll be like, listen, I just paid all this goddamn money. You don't want it? Prove it. You know,
Yep.
you need to do it yourself. And it was actually the best thing she ever did. It was the best thing she ever did for me, because then it was like I was for real in the deep end, man. I had no more pocket money. I was like, I was there trying to make it work now, man. You know, just out of school, don't know shit. And I end up building up this business to a point where my edge was pretty funny, dude. I went to the newspaper companies because old people had money. That was my idea. I was like, yeah, the dudes who read the newspaper must have money, not not
They
the
got
guys on
time too.
Facebook. Yeah, at that time, I was talking a good couple of years back. So I make an ad saying that like R1 million driveway, which is like $100,000 driveway, this size, no questions asked. I'm the best fucking driveway guy you've ever met. That was my shit in the ad, right? I can't remember the exact copy, but it was like a very arrogant, like, we're the best driveway guys you'll ever meet. type thing, right? And after like 4 months, this woman reaches out to me. She's like a huge person in the banks. And she goes, yeah, I'll do it. Let's go. I was like, okay, dude, that's crazy. Like R1 million in South Africa is a ludicrous, like $100,000 in Africa is a lot of money, dude, for a driveway.
Mm-hmm.
So I start paying. I'm like, bro, I need to now build this driveway for $100,000. What does that even look like? How do you build $100,000 driveway? Like, what does that look like? You know what I mean? Dude, I start importing marble from like I just go crazy. I start buying all the stupid shit. I end up pulling off such a job, bro. Such a good job. She loves it, right? Couple weeks later, I see that it got featured in an architect magazine.
Wow.
It like popped off. People were like, dude, this is an amazing driveway. I was like, holy shit, we've actually done it. And it was the same 3 dudes I found at the hardware store that taught me all this shit, right?
No way.
And it catches the eye of there's a huge restaurant chain in South. It's actually in America now. It's called Nando's. So Nando's is like one of the biggest successes to come out of South Africa. So the CEO calls us and goes, hey, we're about to start drive-thrus. This is like when drive-thrus wasn't a thing, bro. Like, we're about to start drive-thrus. You did a great job at this. Come do the drive-thrus. So I do this, the first flagship store, which is the only kosher Nando's in the world. That was my first job. I was like, all right, I get it. I smash it. They give me a contract, right? People start taking a lot of notice. People start giving me contracts for all these drive-thrus, right? I take that, and I sold my first company at 19. And that's how I made my first good amount of money. So I made a very nice bag, and I pretty much sold the contracts. So it was like 3 years of building drive-thrus. But I mean, that was guaranteed work. So that's why we could sell it. Mm-hmm. And that was like my first earliest success. And I took that money, and I always wanted to be in tech, actually. That's always where my passion's been. Long story short, I invested that money into a bunch of different places, started another startup in the music space. So I've actually been in music for quite a while, but I fly to Israel to celebrate. I'm like, wow, made my first bag. Let's fucking go, right?
Right.
Go party with my cousin, who was an incredible developer. He taught himself from a couple books when he was a kid. He learned how to code. And we go party. Dude, I spend like $1,000 trying to find a party. $1,000. That's ridiculous. To find a party. Everyone's like, yeah, this place is cool. You go, there's like 5 dudes in a circle. It's like, it's not cool, man.
So this is $1,000 paying cover just to get in and scope out the parties? Or
yeah, coverage, taxi, this shit, that shit, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, okay. I'm just trying to have a good time and celebrate the sale and live a little, bro. I'm pushing 20, you know? Getting old. So, dude, at the end of it, we find this club. We have the best time. The next morning, we're hungover as fuck. And I wake up and I go, like, why isn't there a way to find a party in a country you've never been to, like, that you actually know will be good? Like, why doesn't that exist? Right? Because at the time, it was just like Facebook, where you have the Facebook event. People would say they'd attend, but that was it. And the whole night, because of the language barrier, they'd be like, hold on, I'm getting the intelligence of the next party to know where to go. So I make this app with my cousin called Intelligence, which is to give you the intel of where to go. And what we did was pretty cool, bro. We built cameras with like Arduinos and all this, like these little boards. And we put cameras in the clubs above the DJ. And we live streamed this. Bro, this is before live streaming was even cool, by the way. Before like Twitch popped off or anything. We start live streaming parties around the world, right? And it's actually working. And we start like fucking around with a few features like, we'll give you the guy-girl ratio. You know? So now you can see in the club, you got the guy-girl ratio. It's like every dude's dream that's in their 20s, bro.
That's
it's
all
like,
you need. Oh, yeah.
That's all you need. And then we made one fatal mistake, dude. So now we're pumping money into this thing. We're busy raising our first bit of venture capital. We've never raised money before. And we decide, dude, you know what would be a great idea? If we can do the audio as well. So we find a way to put the audio into this product where whatever you see in the club, whatever the DJ is performing, you will hear live. So on the way to the club or wherever you're going, you can like plug it into your taxi or something and party with, you know what I mean? Like, we thought it was a cool idea. We did not know what copyright was, right? Yeah. So for 6 months, we start mass distributing audio that we did not pay for. And we get a knock on the door from Universal Studios, hey man, you owe us a huge amount of money. This is how much you've distributed. This is how much you're planning on distributing. You owe us a lot of money. We're like, well, we can't pay that. We're a startup, bro. They were like, well, shut it down. And that was my first very big loss. So now I made all the money from the first sale, lost all that shit in the second startup because I didn't understand. Let me tell you, I'm a DMCA specialist now, Bart. I'm the most clued up DMCA guy out there. So that was like my first like riches back to rags. I got humbled, but it was a great lesson. Like there's lessons in all these things, right? You'll never meet a successful person that hasn't failed. Mm-hmm. And yeah, man, like through that journey, I just built a couple more businesses to wrap it up. Went heavy into the mining and energy sector, found some success there, built a software that does about $250 million a year revenue that services that space. It's still active today. It's one of my main things. And then I found Web3 while I was helping TikTok build out their live streaming. So we always believed in live streaming. I always knew it was going to be like a thing. Like since I was 20, I was trying live streaming shit. So I was really stoked to get back in the ring with TikTok because they were just experimenting with live streaming. This is pre-COVID, by the way. COVID's about to hit. I start playing around with live streaming again. We start building out to compete with Twitch because Twitch didn't have discoverability. And I spent the first year of COVID as a content creator to understand what it is like that. Like, what are the struggles? What do they go through? Like, what is the product to build that you can actually, because how do you make a great solution? So I end up becoming this TikToker, bro, making Call of Duty content, quick scoping and shit. I actually loved that process. It was so much fun. And while I was doing that, the VaynerMedia guys were shilling NFTs like you cannot believe. This is like just as Bored Apes popped off. They were like, dude, NFTs are the future. And every time I open my damn For You page, Gary Vee is just screaming at me. If you're not buying NFTs, you're a fucking idiot. You know, like that sort of thing. It's classic.
Buy CryptoPunk.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Like literally he was shilling the shit, dude. We should have listened. But I was like, okay, man, I'll check it out. And that's how I got into Web3, like through all of it. And I think the most fortunate part for me, which a lot of people don't know, is I haven't taken a single dollar from Anybodies. I've never earned a salary in the 2 years that we've been here. I don't take any money from it because I make money outside of that. So I pretty much put everything into Anybody's success. So that's why I believe it'll be $1 billion company, because we're going like all in, and the founding team is cracked, bro. Like people don't know this, but our chairman is like ex-Sequoia Capital. He's like a 2x venture exited. Like he's cracked. People don't even know who this man is, but he's like one of the most insane guys we've ever worked with. And he's a good shareholder in our business. And yeah, so we have very, very strong people in this team. But that's
great.
The entrepreneurship journey, man. Yeah.
Amazing. So as far as your team, like what do you think that you guys do better than anyone else in Web3?
I think that everything that we promise, we actually do. Like, and we always take a lot less than what we need to keep ourselves hungry. So like, if you look at it, our total NFT mint raise was $300,000 and we're still going. 2 years.
Right.
Like that's a crazy number, right?
It's
not like we did
so
millions
much.
of dollars in, yeah. I mean, what's 300K in a business today, dude? 300K is all you have. You have no real revenue streams. Think of it as an NFT project. You don't have any revenue. When royalties get cut off, you're screwed. That didn't matter to us because we weren't like pumping royalties. People didn't like our project, right? So we never ever made any big money on royalties. So how did we come so far with so little? You know, and like that's just a testament to the team. Is you know, I think keeping yourselves hungry. I think that's the key. Is as soon as you take too much money, you get comfortable, start slowing down. You're not as sharp on it. So and that's why, like, you know, I think a big like look at OK Bears. You have huge, massive early success. That's the expectation. Now, God forbid they make a mistake. Obviously, they're going to make a mistake. We've made mistakes as well. But now,
right.
You know, that's so there's like a lot of pros and cons. But I would say that our team's execution is in terms of like actually creating the products that people want and shipping them is way beyond what anyone else is doing in the space right now. From specifically our sector, our little bubble of loyalty and Phygital and all of this. Because like I tell you, a lot of people. Sorry, just add this. Like a lot of people think that like Phygital is revolutionary. And I'm like, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. Like you've taken a chip and attached an NFT. You've done nothing. You have done nothing. Congratulations, bro. And like people walk around like, bro, this is the, I'm like, that's not the future, dude. This is just a means to get to the future, but it's nothing. And these companies are getting like $10 million in funding to
Yeah.
chip something, dude. This is crazy. So I think that's the key difference.
Yeah, and I will say, like, I've absolutely seen just how you guys deliver on your promises, and I think that everyone in the Anybody's community sees that as well, and that's why there's such high loyalty among the people that are already in the project, and it really just makes me wonder why the rest of the space hasn't seen that as well. And there's, someone created a bot Twitter account to call you a giraffe scammer when all you've done is deliver on everything that you've promised. I mean, do you have any idea or thoughts on why isn't anybody's number one right now? Because from every fundamental way that you can look at a Web3 project and just observe the space, I think you guys should be.
I agree. I think that there's a couple components that are holding us back. Number one is the art. So we took a very unique approach to our art, which I mean, I still love the art. It's in the background. It's in Bart's background over there.
I
And
love
the
it too.
artist behind it is amazing, right? Seeding, it's like world famous artist. When we were pumping, we were like at 50 Sol floor price. Sol was looking good. Like we were really moving on up. I got so many DMs from people being like, dude, we love what you're doing, but there's no way I'm buying this NFT purely based on looks. I don't care what it does. It could make me $1 million next year. I'll not buy it because it's a girl with a beard and something weird, right? I was like, damn, that's crazy, dude. Like, it's just a token at the end of the day. Just leave it in your wallet. Don't look at it. And they were like, no way. No way. So a lot of people, you won't believe how many DMs I'll pull them up and show you guys. The craziest shit, dude. People are just like, this woke movement in America. A lot of people are misunderstanding our intentions for being this like woke movement on the blockchain. I'm like, no, it's not what it is. It's more to say, hey, you can be whatever you want in the digital, like on the internet. That's the whole thing, right? And we're making blockchain accessible for anybody. Like that's the whole purpose of the art, was to push that sort of narrative. And people just took it as girl with beard equals LGBTQ. That's not what I stand for. Trump, screw you. I vote Trump, not touching your collection. Like that's what it was, dude. And there's tons of people that still think this. So I think there's a big barrier and we underestimated how valuable art is in the space. Like when we made it, we didn't think that it was like the catalyst. We thought, hey, utility, like actually do something that's meaningful, people will care, which is 50% of the case, I would say. For current, we're talking about the current audience. The future audience, I think, will be a lot more mature, and it'll be a different story. And I think that we will lead the bull run. But yeah, a lot of people really care about the art. So we've got we've got a really big team working on the art right now. I'm excited to release it. I think that it's top tier, definitely some of the best art on the blockchain, let alone Sol. So I think that will be a big step in the right direction. Also focusing a lot on the branding side, where giving our community the ability to use that branding, build their own products, have access to our products and build really cool things with, for no cost. So pretty much take all this cool tech that enterprises are paying for, but hey, if you're a holder and you've got like a small business, you want to try and experiment, go and build things with that. That's where I see a lot of interest. And the last one is the token. So we have a loyalty token or point called Style, and a very, very big part of how we see Anybody's NFT collection becoming like the leaders, becoming number one, is largely driven by the price discovery of Style. And we've got a very clear plan of action of how we make Style the next, like, I don't want to say XRP, but like the next great cryptocurrency. That's actually like there's a reason for it to exist. It's not just some speculative Ponzi-nomic crap. I think the beauty of style, and no offense to anyone, I love all blockchains and all shitcoins. I mean, I love them all. But I think like a key catalyst is token price, right? So styles, styles' biggest advantage on all other call them shitcoins is that every time a customer comes on and wants to put their loyalty points on chain, they have to bring fresh dollars into that ecosystem in order to do this. So the style ecosystem, whether it'll remain the name style or not, it was style because of the fashion, but we've pivoted. You've got fresh, real dollars coming into an ecosystem, an economy that is sustainable now. That's not just Ponzi-nomics where, you know what I mean, it's all the same money staying in the same place. This is new dollars, new customers, new use case, new product, all powered by this. We had like an idea of a name. I don't know if it'll be it, but I'll tell you it. MLT. So what would you think that stands for? Membership loyalty token, you know? So, I mean, it might be something. I don't know if it sounds cool enough.
Hey, acronyms are good.
Right?
One of my favorite projects in Web 3.0, it's all about like metaverse building, like a blockchain super app and all that kind of stuff. And they just changed their token name from Zero to Meow, which sounds insane, but it stands for minds entering other worlds. And that's kind of like the unifying theme that's
I
going to
love that.
connect all of the, like the metaverse, like Ready Player One type of stuff. And it's got like the meme potential as well. So
Dude,
yeah, acronyms are
okay.
good.
Hell yeah. Meow. I love that. So yeah,
Now,
I think those are the three things that we would that we're focusing on that will ultimately take us to number one, for sure.
awesome. Yeah, and I want to be respectful of your time. So this is my last question. I'm someone who has always studied entrepreneurs, billionaires, very successful people, and I've personally really structured my just daily routine around what I've seen these other people do and what they say is really like their key to success each day. Some people it's waking up early in the morning to work out, right? Like
Mm.
that's why I get up at 4:30 every morning because I've seen these other people do it and they've said it's so important. What is to you really like your daily routine? What are, no matter what's going on, whether
Yeah.
you're fundraising or you're focused on dev, whatever it is, like what are kind of the foundational pillars of your routine that you would pass on to someone else who's young and hungry and trying to learn how to just get it done every day?
So my prime time is the evening, funny enough. So I'm not a morning person at all, but that doesn't mean I wake up at 11 a.m. So I wake up 8 a.m. every morning, get up, shower. I think that showering in the morning is like amazing. I think that's a very key thing. Wakes you up, you're good to go, you're fresh. Brush
Yep.
your teeth, make your bed. It's a big one. That was a big game changer for me. Weirdly enough, I think that like making my bed and actually like looking after my shit, taking that initiative in the morning
Yeah, the
was
military guys are huge on that.
really. I haven't. It's always just been a weird. I haven't come across that, but like for
Oh, so
me,
you just did it on your own? You didn't hear
as
someone
soon as
else
I
saying
left my
it?
mom's house, so as soon as I moved out, because we had a domestic worker. So in South Africa, it's very common to have a domestic worker that helps in your house. So they would always make. That's like sort of how it was. And then when I moved out, it was like a big thing. It was like, okay, like make the bed, get up, like that, just that weird little routine of get up, make the bed, get in the shower, get dressed, and you're locked in. Um, but I mean, it makes sense for military because that's like
Yeah,
built
because
into
the
them, right?
the military guys basically, yes, it's like built into them, but what they say is that's the first thing on your to-do list, and then you start the day off with a win, and then psychologically you
Hmm.
want to achieve more wins, so it starts the snowball effect of
Love it.
getting shit done, having a great day, and just winning.
I mean, they've articulated a lot better. So similar thought process. It's like get
Yeah.
up and get it done. Like make the bed, get in the shower, get ready, and now you've already conquered the annoying part of your day. Like you're good, your money. Start my day with so then I'll go have a coffee, take my dogs to school. Like that's the usual scene.
Yeah.
And I would say the most valuable lesson I will give in your daily routine is to value your time. So what I've structured, and it's been like a lot of chop and change, but it's like how many meetings I take a day versus sitting with the team, whether it's going into the office or virtual. So I sort of have like a weird structure, I would say, where Mondays and Tuesdays are like book whatever meeting you want. My time is available. I'm happy to sit with people, 15-minute to 30-minute slots. So like you have the 30-minute link. There's usually a 15-minute link. If you can't tell me what you need in 15 minutes, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like that's a long time. You know what I'm saying? Time is like the most valuable thing. Like
Right.
that was the craziest moment for me, was realizing that I can accomplish the same amount of stuff in half the time by just cutting a meeting in half. And it doesn't change anything. It's just that you're more productive now. You got so much more time to do other shit. So Mondays and Tuesdays are the meeting days. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are purely company focused team stuff. So like actually getting shit done. Because a lot of people get stuck in this loop where they're like taking a lot of meetings, taking a lot of calls. It feels like you're doing a lot of shit, but you're actually doing nothing. Like you just waste. You're not like when does work start? You know, because meeting is not really, that's not where it all happens, right? It happens after the meeting. So
Right.
protect your time. I think that's super valuable. That's a really really big one. And yeah, that's sort of the routine is Monday, Tuesday is meetings. The rest of the week is focused on teams and actually getting shit done. From a planning point of view, like of my work, that doesn't really have a methodology yet. So I think I'm still trying to work that one out. But make everything a habit, and it's life changing. If you can turn these things into habits, and it's actually pretty simple to figure out how to make them a habit, then it's like you're running on auto. You don't even have to think about these things, and they just start happening and falling into place. So, I mean, I run 3 businesses, right? One of them has 600 employees. So it's like there's a lot of things that go on in my day. But I think if you protect your time and realize that it takes the same amount of effort to build $1 million business as it does to make $1 billion business, when you realize that effort is the same, that's when that's the life-changing moment for you. You're like, holy shit, man, like time, where'd I put it to
Yep.
yield a better result?
Amazing.
Hope that's a good
Thank you
answer,
very
bro.
much. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much for your time today. I know
Thank you, bro.
it's incredibly valuable, and really hope to do this again someday.
Dude, I'm excited for your podcast. Congratulations on the first episode. It's an honor to be the first episode and looking forward to all the success, Mr. Bart. Thank you, brother.
Yeah. Appreciate it.